Hey guys, it's Andrew from Collective Intelligence, and we are in episode 3 of the Mixdown tutorial. We're mixing a section of a track from start to finish. We first talked about the plugins and the tools that we're going to use. We did that in the first lesson. Now in the second lesson, we covered the kick and the bass and the drums, and we've mixed them. In this lesson, we are going to focus on the leads, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and grab the leads and pull them up. Now, the reason I'm going to work on the leads is because I was thinking on the way home before making this video, the kick and bass obviously need to be very well heard. The percussion is going to be what's going to make us groove. And then the leads are very important. So these 3 elements I think are more important than the effects and the risers at this point in time to be set at an appropriate level, right? So let's get into it. I'm going to just give you a little preview of what we've done so far. After we've listened to it, I'll just give you some comments on what I think. And then we'll continue moving forward. So let's have a listen. Okay, so that's just going to keep repeating the percussion, and that doesn't progress super heaps. But the leads do create progression. So what we're going to do is we are going to start adding in our leads. Okay, so surprise, somebody subscribed. Thank you very much. We've got some grid leads, we've got some main leads. So and all in all, we've got essentially lead 1, and then we've got lead 2 and 3. So let's go ahead and bring up lead 1 to start with. And we'll just see, okay, so it's positioned there. I'm just going to bring them up in volume just to kind of see where exactly in there. Okay, that comes later, so we'll leave that. And that comes after this one. Okay, so we'll just pull that down for now. We'll focus on this lead plus his buddies, right? So these are little effects that kind of lead into it. So lead into the lead. Okay, so let's go ahead and just pull the volume down to say, let's keep it there for now, and we'll have a listen. Okay, so I didn't even hear it. So let's pull it up a bit more. And I'll play it from here. From here. I've got the group turned off, so that's why I would not hear it. Let's do that again. Right, so that's nice and loud. It's very clear. Okay, all right. Let's say that that's an okay position for now. Let's close our eyes again and have a listen to it. What I'll do, okay, so 8.5 seems okay right off the bat. Let's pull it down to like -11 or -12. We'll close our eyes and we'll listen. It's still there and it's still present, right? So if I pull it down even more, I'm hearing it, but it's a little bit quiet. So let's go ahead and set it like, for now, we're going to put it there, all right? And it's just playing exactly the same, right? It's just a one shot, it's repeating. Let's bring up the little pre-effect, right? So let's set it around, let's put it around -15 and just get a bit of an idea. Man, that sounds good already. So let's pull that up a little bit and have a listen to that. Magic. Okay, I'm just going to mute my microphone for a second. I'm just going to turn up my headphones a bit louder so I can really get an idea of what that's like. Sweet, that's great. I think that's actually at a good volume. So let's just listen to it through and sort of close our eyes. We're going to listen to all of the elements interacting. We're going to make sure that we can hear everything. So let's do it. Okay, so I can can hear the broken beat. I can hear very clearly my open hat. All my percussion and those leads, everything sounds very clear. I'm not having trouble picking anything up. That works really well. Okay, so let's say that these leads, I'm pretty happy with them. What do we think we need to change in terms of their sound with an EQ though? Let's pull in our EQ8, and I want to make sure that all of these sounds don't have too much high frequency content in them to the point where it makes them piercing. So I could try taming this a little bit, and I just want to get an idea of how it sounds. I've got a idea that it might be a bit overpowering, but I haven't practiced, I haven't tried yet. So let's go ahead and close our eyes, listen to this with it cut and uncut. We're not really losing too much, except just a tiny little bit of sharpness, right? Which doesn't necessarily need to be there because we're not going to have too much of an overpowering mix, right? Let's just cut the lows, see what we're dealing with here. Does that make... Right, so we're losing a bit of the bottom of that sound, and maybe it's a bit too much. Okay, that's nice and controlled. I'm happy with that for now. I just want to control. I'm just here to control. Cool, so we're going to definitely take out the lows. And I don't think there's anything happening up here that we can't deal with. It's not an aggressive sound by any stretch, and it's not that loud. I'm pretty happy with that. I just want to take out any low. Whoops. I put 2 EQs. Silly. Cool. Great. Subtle control. So remembering that the percussion is going to be taking a lot of that upper frequency above 10,000 kilohertz, right? So we can focus our leads between, say, let's say, just as a rule of thumb, let's say 250 hertz to 10,000 hertz. That's where we're going to let our leads do the talking. Down here, that's where the sub-frequency content of our track is going to be doing the talking. And then up here, that's where the percussion is going to be doing the talking. So this spectrum is going to be filled by a lot of things, a lot of effects, a lot of all sorts of stuff. All right. So we've got another sound here that we can start bringing up. And this one, I know this one to be quite piercing. So I know I'm going to actually have to be very careful with the way I EQ this. So let's have a listen to the track through. Yeah, nice. I'm going to just turn it up a little bit more just to get context. I'm just bringing it down a bit. I feel like it's overpowering just a little bit too much when it's coming in here. I was just talking to myself. Okay, so I'm not sure how long I had my microphone muted. and I was talking. But essentially what I just said is that this section here could do with compression. It is quite loud through here and quite quiet here. Yes, by design, it's got a filter on it, so it's slowly coming in. I don't think it needs it right now. If we're going to compress it, maybe we'll do it a little bit later on. Let's continue listening. I've just brought this up. Okay, I'm happy with how all of that's sounding. And I'm thinking now would be a good time to start adding in a bit of some effects for reverb and for delay, right? So let's go lead delay. Oops, lead delay. And we've got that fancy new Ableton delay. So remember, keep in mind, Ableton has consolidated their delay down into one single unit called delay. That's nice and easy. So let's have a listen just to this one. Let's send a little bit of delay. %, dry wet. Just pull the feedback. I'm using the filter on the delay just to have, high frequency stuff actually being delayed. I don't want everything. And I've put it on ping pong just to explain that. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's put the same amount on this lead here and just have a listen. Nice. So we'll just quickly, we don't need to EQ this delay because of the filter on it. Just want to have yeah, it's fine. Yeah, nice. So that's good. Let's just see whether this needs any delay. Works really nice if it does have a little bit on it. Sweet. Cool. And then we could also do a lead reverb. And, you can get really in depth with this sort of stuff. You could put a short reverb, a long reverb, a whatever reverb. I'm going to keep it simple and I'm just going to use one reverb across all of the leads, but I'm going to, cause that'll also help them sort of be in the same acoustic space. So we'll go dry wet 100%. We'll put this on high. We're going to, let's just let it run into there without any manipulation. And what we might do is we might do a little bit of a trick with the pre-delay, right? So this track is 145 BPM, right? So if we come here and we go to music calculator, and if we go to delay timing and we go 145 and we want to see what a 30-second note is, it's 51 milliseconds, right? So let's put 51 milliseconds in here. So there's going to be a tiny little delay between when the sound is triggered and when the reverb is applied, right? So let's have a listen to this lead. Put a heap on it. Too much, but just to get an idea of the sound. Okay, let's pull it down. Turn the reverb off. Yep, it's bringing a bit of life. That's good. Let's control it slightly, but we don't really need to. But we just want to be safe. I don't want anything like low coming through on this reverb, right? So I'm just going to control my reverb with an EQ. Doesn't really need it because I've already EQ'd the sounds that are going into it, but you know, it's good practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that -20 across all of the leads, right? And let's have a listen to all of the leads together. So reverb on, reverb off, on, brings a bit of life. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's have a listen to how everything's working together. Okay, I'm happy with that. It sounded good. We haven't had to do too much to it. Combination of not having everything in the mix just yet because the effects, they overlap a lot with the leads. So we may need to do some separation with the EQ. So EQ some parts of that sound out, boost some parts of the sound, jigsaw puzzle to get everything working together. But right now, that's sounding good. Obviously, these sounds are already panned. That's sort of cheating a little bit. I wish I could show you a little bit of panning. What we might do is we'll pan these guys. So let's just experiment with it and see whether we can make it interesting. So let's get the stereo tool. And we can do fairly simple stuff here. So let's get the automation up. Okay, so let's go. All right, so you're in the center and let's work our way out to, let's do that. Let's have a listen. Right, and then if we reset it back to 50 and then we do the same this way, right? So the sound's always kind of moving this way or that way. It's starting in the center, so it's nice and sharp, but then it kind of moves past our head, so to speak. So let's bring it up to 80. Let's bring this back down to 50. And here we've got, so we could come, we could try this. Let's have a listen and see whether it works. Yes, got it on 50. Works, 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 works. Okay, so is that repeating after that point? I think that's the loop, right? So let's just go and print it. Say, yes, it's the best. Sweet. And what about this guy? So this is two sounds, right? It's bop and then it's boop. We could do this. We could go, not all the way, but like we could try, reset that. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Let's say, okay, let's go 20 again there and then 80 there. Okay, so we'll do that. And then here, we're going to start out there, but we're going to move. We're going to alternate back. like so. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And then you can do that. Okay, so we've got some basic panning happening. Let's have a listen to everything again. You may have heard my headphones, so I'll just let it play a little bit without my headphones. Sounding good. Cool. All right, so that's it for mixing the leads right now. As we get further into the mix, we may come back and make adjustments if we need to, but mainly, guys, I can't insist this enough. Mixing comes down to a combination of ideas. It comes down to the sounds that you're picking and the way that you're arranging them. And it comes down to the volumes, right? So the volume, if you pick sounds that take up certain parts of the frequency spectrum, but they don't necessarily overlap a lot. So you'll see here that there's not really, the only time where these leads actually overlap is right there. We've got a sound and a sound. Right, so we've got conflict there, and we could remedy that. What I could do in that section is I could actually say, okay, yeah, 50 is the center. Okay, so 50. Let's have that one smack bang down the center, and let's have these guys all the way panned, right, to create more separation between those instruments. So how does that sound? I can hear them very distinctly now, right? So before it was a little bit of an overlap. So straight down the middle, boom, either side. There you go, instantly. And they actually, everything can capture your attention because all of a sudden you hear like something hard panned there, something hard panned there, right? And I don't mind hard panning sounds. I'm not too worried about that. You know, of course, you may have situations where you've got somebody on the dance floor and they're standing on the right speaker stack and they're only going to hear the right hand content. But that's a sacrifice you make for stereo sound. So, volume, getting it at the appropriate volume is very important. And then picking sounds that fit within the appropriate frequency range. It's going to make your life so much easier. If you're always chucking sounds over top of each other, you're going to run into problems, right? Mixing is always going to be a pain. So here you go. Another episode done. Let's get into, what are we going to do next week? We'll do the effects next week. Then we'll finish the risers and then we'll do an overall squish. We'll do some parallel processing on things. We'll get things sounding tight. We'll get it sounding loud, and then we're going to master it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's get stuck into the next one.